Imagine holding a small coin in your hand and realizing it could be worth far more than its face value. A coin that, to most people, is just a simple penny, but to collectors, it could be a hidden treasure worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars. Today, we're diving into one of the most intriguing coins in modern American history, the 1998 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. What makes it so special? Why do collectors chase it with such intensity? And how could one of these tiny coins change the way you see the pennies in your own pocket? The 1998 Lincoln penny, officially called the Lincoln 1 cent, is a coin that most Americans have seen countless times. It features the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln on the front, a design that has been in place since 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. On the reverse, it displays the Lincoln Memorial, a design that has been a constant since 1959. By 1998, the Lincoln penny was so common that it was easy to overlook. Millions of them were minted, and they passed from hand to hand in wallets, cash registers, and coin jars across the United States. Yet, hidden among this sea of ordinary pennies is a version that collectors prize for its rarity. The one without a mint mark. In the United States, pennies are typically produced at one of two mints: Philadelphia, which historically did not add a mint mark to its coins, and Denver, which uses a D mint mark. By 1998, the Philadelphia Mint still produced pennies without any mint mark. While this sounds ordinary, what makes the 1998 no mint mark penny interesting is the combination of certain subtle characteristics and collector trends that have elevated its status in the numismatic world. Some collectors have discovered that specific pennies from this year can show unusual strikes, minor errors, or exceptional condition, making them highly sought after. The story of the 1998 penny begins with its production at the Philadelphia Mint. By the late 1990s, the United States Mint was using modern techniques to produce billions of pennies each year. The coin is primarily made of a zinc core with a thin copper plating, a composition that began in 1982 to reduce production costs. Despite being mostly zinc, these coins are incredibly durable and retain their shine when stored properly. The obverse, or front, showcases Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909. Lincoln's profile has become one of the most recognized images in the world of coins. The reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, shows the Lincoln Memorial with remarkable detail for such a small coin. The intricate columns and the statue inside the memorial are tiny features that can help collectors identify high-quality coins from this era. Why is the 1998 no mint mark penny considered rare or valuable? The answer lies in a combination of factors. Unlike older, antique coins, modern pennies are not generally considered highly collectible unless they exhibit some form of uniqueness. In the case of the 1998 penny, a coin without a mint mark in pristine, uncirculated condition can be scarce in the marketplace. Coins with sharp details, no scratches, and full, bright luster are extremely difficult to find, especially after years of circulation. In addition, there have been reports of certain error coins from this year, such as double strikes or slight off-center strikes. These errors are rare and can significantly increase a coin's value, because collectors love items that stand out from the ordinary. Real-life examples highlight just how much these coins can be worth. While most circulated 1998 pennies are worth just a few cents, an uncirculated, high-grade example can fetch anywhere from $50 to several $100s in auctions. Error coins from this year, especially those with a noticeable doubling of the date or lettering, have sold for even higher amounts. For instance, a 1998 no mint mark penny with exceptional quality and a faint double die strike could easily reach prices over $1,000. These values illustrate how something as small as a penny can hold incredible significance in the collector community. It's a fascinating reminder that rarity isn't just about age. It's about condition, uniqueness, and the stories coins carry with them. If you're trying to identify a genuine 1998 no mint mark penny, there are a few things to look for. First, examine the coin closely to ensure there is no D under the date. That indicates it's from the Denver Mint. Next, check the condition of the coin. Crisp edges, clean surfaces, and fully visible details on Lincoln's face and the Lincoln Memorial can signal that the coin is in uncirculated condition. Collectors also pay attention to subtle variations in the strike, such as doubled numbers or letters, which can indicate a rare error. Counterfeit coins are rare for modern pennies, but it's always important to handle coins carefully and compare them with verified examples if you're unsure. Beyond its monetary value, the 1998 no-mint mark penny holds several fun and surprising details. For instance, despite being a modern coin, it is part of the long tradition of Lincoln pennies that have been collected for over a century. The 1998 coin was minted in a period when millions of pennies were produced each year, yet only a fraction are considered collectible today. It's also interesting to note that pennies from the 1990s are now old enough to appear in estate collections or coin collections of people who grew up with them, giving them a nostalgic appeal. Small errors that might have been overlooked in circulation decades ago now carry stories that attract collectors, from slight variations in lettering to minor imperfections in the copper coating. Collectors love the 1998 no-mint mark penny for more than just its potential market value. It represents a tangible connection to a moment in history, a snapshot of everyday life in the late 20th century. It's a coin that has passed through countless hands, yet some have survived nearly flawless. For numismatists, it's a joy to find a coin that combines common design with uncommon perfection. The thrill of spotting an uncirculated penny or discovering a hidden error in a jar of loose change is part of what makes collecting so compelling. Every coin has a story, and the 1998 no-mint mark Lincoln penny tells one about craftsmanship, history, and the excitement of discovery. Even if you're not a seasoned collector, simply holding a 1998 no-mint mark penny can spark curiosity. It invites you to look closer at objects you might otherwise ignore, to question what you think you know about ordinary things. How many coins in your pocket could hold hidden value? What stories are waiting to be uncovered in a box of coins in your drawer? The 1998 penny is a small object, but it reminds us that even the most familiar things can have secrets worth exploring. In a world where money often passes by unnoticed, this tiny coin can open a door to history, intrigue, and the unexpected thrill of discovery. So next time you come across a penny, don't just see a 1-cent coin. Look at it closely, consider its details, and imagine its journey. Among the countless coins minted every year, a hidden gem may be waiting to reveal itself. The 1998 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is more than just currency. It's a story, a piece of history, and for those who recognize its rarity, a treasure. Keep your eyes open, because you never know when the ordinary could turn into the extraordinary, and the next coin you hold might just be one worth far more than its face value. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that looks ordinary at first glance, but could secretly be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars. Today, we're uncovering the story of the 1995 Lincoln penny, a coin that has captured the attention of collectors across the United States. What makes this small, copper-plated disc so intriguing? Let's dive in and explore why some pennies are more than just spare change. The 1995 Lincoln penny is part of a long tradition of U.S. 1-cent coins featuring the profile of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. Since 1909, Lincoln has appeared on the penny, making it the longest-running design in U.S. coin history. The D mint mark on this penny tells us it was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the primary U.S. mints responsible for producing coins for circulation. While it may seem like just another penny from the 1990s, collectors have learned that certain 1995 D coins are more special than others. To understand the story of the 1995 D Lincoln penny, it helps to know a little about the era in which it was produced. In 1995, the United States was experiencing a period of economic growth, and the penny continued to play an important role in daily commerce. That year, the U.S. Mint produced millions of pennies for circulation. Most of these coins were ordinary, used for buying candy, parking meters, or rolling up into coin jars. But like many coins in history, a few stood out due to subtle variations or errors that make them highly sought after today. One of the most fascinating aspects of the 1995 D Lincoln penny is its composition and design. Like other pennies of its era, it is primarily made of a copper-plated zinc core, which replaced the mostly copper pennies produced before 1982. On the front, you'll find Abraham Lincoln's profile, a design sculpted by Victor David Brenner, a work that has remained largely unchanged for over a century. The back features the Lincoln Memorial, a symbol of the nation's dedication to the man who abolished slavery. While these features might seem standard, the details on a coin can hide important clues that separate the common from the collectible. Collectors often look for small anomalies, and the 1995 D penny has a few noteworthy variations. One of the most talked about is the double die error, a subtle doubling of the lettering and numbers on the coin. These errors occur during the minting process, when a coin is struck more than once, slightly misaligning the design. On the 1995 D Lincoln penny, this can sometimes be seen on the date itself, or in the word Liberty above Lincoln's shoulder. Coins with these double die errors are particularly valuable because they are extremely rare and instantly recognizable to knowledgeable collectors. Another point of interest is the condition of the coin. While most pennies are heavily circulated, a 1995 D in uncirculated or near-perfect condition can command a premium. Coins that have never touched a pocket or a cash register retain sharp details, vibrant color, and a smooth surface. Numismatists, the experts who study coins, often grade coins on a scale from poor to perfect mint state. Even within the same year and mint mark, a high-grade 1995 D penny can be worth significantly more than one that shows heavy wear. So, why does this penny attract attention among collectors? Beyond its potential errors and condition, rarity plays a key role. While millions of 1995 D pennies exist, only a small fraction display unique characteristics that distinguish them from ordinary coins. Collectors understand that scarcity drives value. A coin that looks ordinary but has a subtle double die or is in pristine condition can suddenly become a prized possession worth far more than its face value. Real-world examples show just how much interest these coins can generate. In recent years, auction houses have listed rare 1995 D Lincoln pennies with notable errors for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. One exceptional example, a 1995 D penny with a strong double die, sold for over $2,000 in a collector auction. Even without errors, high-grade uncirculated coins can fetch several $100s when offered through reputable dealers. These figures demonstrate that, with careful examination, a coin that most people overlook can become a valuable collectible. But how can someone tell if a 1995 D Lincoln penny is genuine or fake? There are a few key steps. First, always examine the mint mark carefully. The D should be clear and proportionate, not smeared or added later. Next, check the date and lettering for consistency and any signs of doubling, which is a major indicator of an error coin. Third, weigh the coin and compare it to standard penny specifications. Counterfeit coins often have a slightly different weight or feel. Finally, if a coin seems unusually valuable, it's wise to consult a professional grading service. These experts can confirm authenticity and provide an official grade, which can significantly impact its market value. There are also some fun facts about the 1995 D Lincoln penny that collectors enjoy. For instance, while it is a modern coin, it carries a design that has been in circulation for almost a century, connecting the present with a rich history. It's also a reminder of how everyday objects can hide extraordinary stories. Many coin enthusiasts enjoy hunting through change, hoping to discover one of these hidden treasures in a jar or a pocket. The thrill of potentially finding a rare coin in something as ordinary as a roll of pennies is part of what makes coin collecting such an enduring hobby. Collectors love the 1995 D Lincoln penny not just for its monetary value, but also for its historical significance and the story it tells. Each coin serves as a small piece of history, reflecting the economic conditions, design preferences, and technological advancements of its time. It's a tangible connection to the past, a miniature artifact that has survived decades of use and holds the potential to surprise and delight anyone who takes the time to look closely. Even today, the 1995 D Lincoln penny continues to captivate both casual collectors and serious numismatists. Whether it's the hunt for a double die error, the satisfaction of finding an uncirculated gem, or simply the joy of holding a coin with a century-long design heritage, this penny proves that value isn't always obvious at first glance. What seems ordinary can become extraordinary, and a small copper coin can carry stories and surprises that reach far beyond its face value. So next time you come across a penny in your pocket, take a closer look. You might just be holding a piece of history, a rare treasure, or even a coin that could change hands for hundreds of dollars. The 1995 D Lincoln penny reminds us that curiosity and attention to detail can turn everyday objects into something remarkable. It's a small coin with a big story, And who knows what other hidden gems might be waiting in the loose change around us. Keep looking, keep wondering, and maybe, just maybe, you'll uncover the next rare penny that collectors will talk about for years to come. Imagine holding a tiny piece of history in the palm of your hand, something that has passed through countless pockets, purses, and cash registers, yet could be worth far more than its face value. That's exactly the story behind one of America's most fascinating coins, the 1991 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny. At first glance, it may look like just another copper coin, but for collectors and enthusiasts, this penny tells a story that stretches beyond its humble 1-cent denomination. The 1991 D Lincoln penny is a small, copper-plated coin minted in Denver, bearing the iconic image of President Abraham Lincoln on the front or obverse. The reverse features the familiar Lincoln Memorial, a design that had graced pennies for decades. While it may appear ordinary, it is part of a series that has captured the attention of coin collectors for generations. To understand why this coin is intriguing, we need to take a closer look at its history, its unique features, and why some examples have become highly sought after. The Lincoln penny has a long and storied history. Introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the coin was designed by Victor David Brenner, a sculptor whose initials can still be found on the obverse near Lincoln's shoulder. The 1991 D penny is part of this enduring legacy, minted during a period when the United States was producing billions of pennies each year. That alone might make it seem common, but even within mass production, interesting variations and errors can appear, making certain coins stand out to collectors. In 1991, the Lincoln penny was composed primarily of copper, with a small percentage of zinc, a composition that had been standard for pennies since the late 1980s. This design is simple yet iconic. Lincoln's profile is a symbol of unity and history, and the reverse with the Lincoln Memorial was chosen to reflect the enduring legacy of the 16th president. One detail that collectors pay attention to is the mint mark, the small letter D, beneath the date on the obverse. This mark signifies that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint, which is significant when evaluating rarity and value. What makes the 1991 D penny especially interesting are the subtle variations and occasional errors that appeared during production. Some coins from this year show what collectors call double die characteristics, where the letters or numbers appear slightly doubled due to a misalignment during minting. Others may have slight imperfections in the planchet or blank piece of metal, creating a coin that looks unusual compared to the standard issues. While these anomalies are rare, they are the reason why some 1991 D pennies can attract attention far beyond their 1-cent face value. Collectors often wonder, just how valuable can a 1991 D Lincoln penny be? While most examples of this coin are worth only a few cents, certain error coins or those in exceptional condition can command much higher prices. For instance, a 1991 D penny with a notable doubling on the date or on Lincoln's profile might sell for tens or even hundreds of dollars at auction. Coins that are uncirculated, meaning they have no wear from handling, can also be more valuable, with pristine examples sometimes fetching a premium from collectors who prize perfection. One well-documented example of a rare 1991 D Lincoln penny sold at a collector auction in the early 2010s. The coin featured a small die crack near the edge, a tiny flaw that would normally go unnoticed. Yet, because it was in mint condition and the error was unusual, it sold for more than $200, demonstrating that even minor variations can make a coin collectible. These sales serve as a reminder that in the world of coin collecting, rarity is not just about age, but about uniqueness and condition. Identifying a genuine 1991 D penny is relatively straightforward, but it requires attention to detail. Authentic coins will have the correct weight, size, and metal composition, and the mint mark should match the style used by the Denver Mint that year. Be wary of reproductions or altered coins that attempt to mimic rare errors, as these are common in the market. One reliable tip is to examine the date and mint mark closely under magnification, looking for the crisp, precise strike that indicates an original coin. Coins that feel unusually light or have strange coloration may also warrant closer inspection by a professional numismatist. There are also a few fun and surprising details about this coin that make it fascinating. For instance, 1991 was a year when the United States was transitioning through economic changes, and the penny remained a steadfast symbol of everyday life. The coin has survived decades of circulation, from the pockets of students and workers to cash registers in small towns across the country. It's a tangible connection to the past, a reminder that even the smallest objects can hold historical significance. Collectors love the 1991 D. Lincoln penny not just for its potential value, but for the story it represents. It's a piece of history that is both ordinary and extraordinary, a coin that millions of people have handled without knowing the hidden possibilities it might hold. There's a thrill in examining a coin closely, spotting an unusual feature, and imagining the journey it has taken over 3 decades. For many, the 1991 D penny is a symbol of careful observation, patience, and the excitement of discovery. Even beyond errors and rarity, the coin is celebrated for its connection to the Lincoln series, one of the longest-running and most beloved in American history. Collectors often enjoy completing sets, comparing coins from different mints, and noting the subtle differences in strikes and finishes. The 1991 D penny, with its Denver mint mark, plays a small but meaningful role in this larger narrative, linking modern collectors to the origins of the series in the early 20th century. Next time you find a seemingly ordinary 1991 D Lincoln penny in a jar or drawer, take a closer look. Inspect the date, examine the mint mark, and consider the possibility that this tiny coin may have a story to tell beyond its face value. Whether it's an uncirculated treasure, a subtle mint error, or simply a connection to history, this penny reminds us that even the smallest objects can hold unexpected significance. There's a whole world of discovery hidden in plain sight, waiting for those curious enough to see it. The next time you drop a penny into your hand, think about where it might have been, the hands it has passed through, and the secrets it may carry. The 1991 D Lincoln penny is more than just a coin. It's a doorway into history, mystery, and the fascinating world of collecting. Imagine holding a small piece of history in the palm of your hand, something that looks like any ordinary penny, yet could be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars. Today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating coins in American numismatics, the 1973 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. This coin isn't just copper and zinc. It's a story of rarity, mystery, and a unique place in the world of collectors. If you've ever wondered how a common coin could suddenly become a treasure, this is the story you won't want to miss. The 1973 Lincoln penny is part of the long-running series honoring Abraham Lincoln, which began in 1909, marking the centennial of his birth. These pennies have passed through countless hands, jangled in pockets, jars, and cash registers. Yet most people never notice the subtle differences that can make one coin extraordinarily rare. While millions of pennies were minted in 1973, the version without a mint mark is the one that has captured the attention of collectors and enthusiasts alike. So, what exactly is a no-mint mark penny? In U.S. coinage, a mint mark is a small letter on the coin indicating where it was produced. In 1973, pennies were struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. Coins from Philadelphia traditionally had no mint mark, while those from Denver carried a D. On the surface, a 1973 penny with no mint mark might not seem unusual, but in certain conditions, these coins become rare and highly sought after. The story of the 1973 penny begins in the early 1970s, a time of economic change in America. Inflation was starting to creep in, and the U.S. Mint was experimenting with cost-effective methods to produce coins efficiently. That year, billions of pennies were struck, most in Philadelphia, but a very small number went through special procedures, or were saved and stored in uncirculated condition, creating the foundation for today's rare examples. Collectors now hunt for these pristine coins, especially those with unusual characteristics that set them apart from the mass of pennies in circulation. From a design perspective, the 1973 Lincoln penny looks familiar. On the obverse, it features Abraham Lincoln's profile, a design created by Victor David Brenner more than 6 decades earlier. The reverse shows the Lincoln Memorial, introduced in 1959, replacing the earlier wheat ears design. Made primarily from a copper alloy, these coins measure 19 millimeters in diameter and weigh about 3.11 grams. For most people, this is just another penny, but subtle details, the sharpness of the strike, the texture of the metal, and the exactness of the date, can significantly affect a coin's value. Some 1973 pennies have minor errors, such as double dies or slightly off-center strikes. And these mistakes can turn a regular coin into a rare collector's item. So why is the 1973 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny so coveted? The answer lies in rarity and condition. While millions were made, very few have survived in near-perfect, uncirculated condition. Even a tiny scratch or spot of discoloration can drastically lower a coin's value. In addition, coins that were never handled, saved directly from the mint in special rolls or sets, are exceptionally rare. Collectors are willing to pay a premium for coins that have retained their original luster, crisp edges, and clear details after nearly 50 years to give a sense of its value. Consider some real examples. A standard circulated 1973 penny might be worth only a few cents, far less than face value. But an uncirculated 1973 penny with no mint mark, graded by professional services as being in pristine condition, can sell for several $100s, and in some exceptional cases even over $1,000. In recent years, auctions have seen collectors pay anywhere from $300 to $500 for high-grade examples, with rare error coins fetching even more. These numbers might surprise anyone who has casually saved pennies in a jar, proving that even the most ordinary coins can hide extraordinary potential. For those interested in identifying a genuine 1973 no-mint mark penny, there are a few key points to remember. First, the absence of a mint mark does not automatically make a coin valuable. The coin must be authentic and in excellent condition. Examine the date carefully. It should be sharp and evenly struck. Look at Lincoln's profile and the memorial on the reverse. The details should be clear and crisp. Be wary of counterfeit coins or those that have been artificially altered to appear uncirculated. Professional grading services can verify authenticity and provide a certified grade, which is essential when buying or selling rare coins. There are also some surprising details about these pennies that collectors love. For instance, even though the coin seems ordinary, every penny tells a story of the era it came from. The 1973 penny survived a period of economic change, the rise of modern coin production techniques, and decades of handling, yet some examples remain almost untouched. Collectors are fascinated by the journey each coin has taken, from mint to pocket to collector's album, often spanning generations. Another interesting fact is that the copper used in these pennies was recycled from older coins and materials, linking each coin not only to history but to a chain of human activity stretching back decades. Collectors are drawn to the 1973 no-mint mark penny not just for its value, but for the thrill of discovery. Holding one of these coins is like holding a small piece of American history. It's a tangible connection to a past that is otherwise invisible, a reminder of the design, economy, and culture of the early 1970s. For some, collecting these pennies is a hobby. For others, it's an investment, a way to preserve wealth in a form that is both beautiful and historically significant. The scarcity of high-grade examples ensures that interest remains strong, and the market for these coins continues to grow, attracting both new and experienced collectors. Even if you don't own one, the story of the 1973 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny sparks curiosity. How many are left untouched in drawers or jars across the country? How many have been lost to circulation, melted down, or discarded over the years? Each coin that survives becomes a bridge to the past, a small but remarkable artifact that reminds us that history often hides in plain sight, waiting for someone to recognize its value. As we consider the journey of the 1973 Lincoln penny, it becomes clear why collectors prize it. Its rarity, condition, and connection to history make it more than just a coin. It's a story captured in metal. Whether you are a seasoned collector or someone who has never thought about the hidden value in pocket change, this penny teaches an important lesson. Sometimes the most ordinary things can be extraordinary, so the next time you find a penny, take a closer look. You might be holding a 1973 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, a tiny piece of history that could hold more than just sentimental value. Keep your eyes open, treasure what you find, and remember that in the world of coins, even the smallest object can carry a story worth discovering. The mystery and potential of these coins ensure that their story will continue for generations, sparking curiosity and fascination every time someone uncovers one of these rare treasures. And as you think about it, ask yourself, could the next penny you pick up be the one that connects you to history, value, and the thrill of discovery? That is the magic of the 1973 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that millions of people walked past every day, and yet, in certain circles, it could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Today, we're diving into one of America's most fascinating and collectible coins, the 1970 Mint Mark Lincoln penny. Whether you've stumbled across one in a jar of change or inherited a handful of old pennies, this coin has a story that could surprise you. The 1970 Lincoln penny is a small, unassuming copper coin, only about 19 millimeters across. On the front, it features the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln, etched into history in 1909 as part of the centennial celebration of his birth. The D mint mark, just below the date on the obverse side, tells us it was struck at the Denver Mint. At first glance, it might look just like any other penny from that year. But for collectors, that tiny D and the year 1970 make all the difference to understand why. Let's step back and look at the history of the Lincoln cent. By 1970, Lincoln pennies had been in continuous production for over 60 years. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin was originally created to honor Lincoln's legacy while giving Americans a durable and practical coin for everyday use. In the late 1960s and into 1970, the U.S. Mint was experimenting with new ways to reduce costs. Copper prices were rising, and there was growing pressure to modify coin compositions. While the penny remained mostly copper in 1970, the Mint had already begun planning for the eventual switch to a copper-plated zinc core, which would come just a few years later. The 1970 D penny is composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc, giving it a warm reddish-brown hue that collectors prize. Its design had remained largely unchanged. Lincoln's solemn, thoughtful face on the front, and the familiar Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But it's not just the composition or design that makes this coin special. Certain minting quirks and errors set the stage for rare, highly sought-after examples. One of the most famous features among collectors is the double die obverse, or DDO. This is a minting error where the date or lettering appears slightly doubled. In some cases, it's subtle, but in others, it's striking enough to catch the eye immediately. So why is the 1970 D penny valuable? First, while millions were produced at the Denver Mint, only a small fraction survive in pristine, high-grade condition. Everyday circulation quickly wears down these coins, leaving most with scratches, discoloration, and rounded edges. Collectors seek coins in uncirculated or near-mint condition, and those are far rarer. Second, the errors we just mentioned, double dies or weak strikes, add a level of scarcity that elevates the coin's value. An ordinary 1970 D penny might be worth just a few cents, but an example with a well-defined double die can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction. For instance, in recent years, a 1970 D Lincoln penny with a clear double die obverse sold for over $3,000. Another uncirculated example with perfect color and strike from the Denver Mint brought in more than $500 at a specialized coin show. These prices illustrate just how much condition and rarity matter. Even subtle variations in the date, mint mark placement, or the quality of the strike can dramatically affect a coin's value. Identifying a genuine 1970 D Lincoln penny is surprisingly simple if you know what to look for. Start with the mint mark. The D should sit just below the date on the obverse. Check the edges and the rim for uniformity. Authentic coins have a clean, even rim, while counterfeits may appear irregular or uneven. Examine the coin under a magnifying glass for signs of doubling in the numbers or letters. Color can also be a clue. Original copper pennies from this era have a natural reddish-brown tone, while fakes may look artificially colored or too shiny. Handling and weight matter too. Genuine pennies weigh about 3.11 grams. Even slight deviations can indicate a reproduction. Beyond errors and minting details, there are plenty of surprising and fun facts about the 1970 D penny. For one, Abraham Lincoln remains the only president to appear on the penny, and his image has endured longer than any other living American's likeness on U.S. coinage. The 1970 D penny is also part of a transitional period in coin history. It was produced just before the Mint began experimenting with new metals and striking techniques in response to rising copper costs. Some of these pennies even show faint die cracks or small variations in lettering, tiny details that delight collectors who love spotting imperfections that tell a story about how coins were made decades ago. Collectors also appreciate the coin for its connection to daily life in 1970. Imagine the hands that touched these pennies. people buying gas, groceries, or movie tickets during a year of cultural change in the United States. That human history adds an intangible value. Coins aren't just currency, they are miniature time capsules. The 1970 Lincoln penny captures a moment in American history, a reminder of the economy, the mint, and the everyday lives of ordinary Americans. Today, the coin enjoys steady popularity among collectors. Coin enthusiasts are drawn to it for its potential rarity, its classic design, and the thrill of discovering a high-grade or error example among a collection of ordinary pennies. Even casual collectors who stumble upon a well-preserved 1970 penny in a jar of change often feel a small spark of excitement when they realize they might be holding a valuable piece of history. The coin embodies the essence of collecting, a mix of luck, patience, and careful observation. Some collectors take the fascination even further, seeking out complete sets of Lincoln pennies by year and mint mark, aiming to capture the evolution of the coin through decades. Others focus specifically on coins with double dies or unusual features, hoping to find that one coin that dramatically exceeds typical market value. The 1970 penny fits perfectly into both approaches. It's accessible enough that many collectors can acquire one without a massive investment, yet rare enough that exceptional examples are considered treasures that as you think about your own coins. Consider this. A seemingly ordinary 1970 Lincoln penny could be hiding in your wallet, your desk drawer, or an old coin collection. A careful eye, a magnifying glass, and a little research could reveal a coin that connects you to history, the U.S. Mint, and perhaps even a small fortune. Every scratch, every variation, every tiny imperfection tells a story. And in the world of coin collecting, stories like that are priceless, so the next time you find yourself holding a penny, don't dismiss it as trivial. Among the countless coins minted in 1970, a select few carry secrets, quirks, and the potential to surprise. The 1970 Lincoln penny is more than just metal and ink. It's a piece of history, a collectible, and a reminder that even the smallest objects can hold immense value. Who knows? The coin in your hand today might just be tomorrow's treasure. And if you take one thing away from this journey, remember this. Every coin has a story waiting to be discovered. The 1970 Lincoln penny isn't just change. It's a bridge to the past, a collector's delight, and perhaps the key to a small but thrilling adventure in the world of rare coins. So when you see that familiar face of Abraham Lincoln on a small copper disc, take a closer look. You might be surprised at what you find. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that most people pass by without a second thought. Yet it carries a story of history, rarity, and hidden value. One small, unassuming penny from 1965 could be more than just spare change. It could be a secret treasure hiding in plain sight. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of the 1965 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin that has captured the attention of collectors and history enthusiasts alike. By the end of this video, you might never look at your pocket change the same way again. The 1965 Lincoln penny is a piece of American history. On the surface, it looks like the everyday penny you see in cash registers, vending machines, or coin jars. But there's more to it than meets the eye. This coin is part of the famous Lincoln cent series, which has been in production since 1909, commemorating the life of Abraham Lincoln. The no-mint mark version indicates it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which didn't use a mint mark at the time. The year 1965 was a transitional moment in U.S. coinage history. It came right after the 1964 silver coin era, during a time when the United States was facing a shortage of copper and nickel. Rising metal prices led the U.S. Mint to adjust coin compositions, and while pennies remained mostly copper at 95%, the pressures on metals and the economy created conditions that make some 1965 pennies interesting to collectors today. Unlike some years where large mintages were produced, 1965 coins have a story that isn't just about quantity. It's about subtle details, changes, and mistakes that make certain coins stand out. When you look at a 1965 Lincoln penny, you'll notice the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln on the front or obverse with the word Liberty and the date to the right. The reverse shows the Lincoln Memorial, a design that was introduced in 1959 to celebrate Lincoln's 150th birthday. But the most interesting aspects aren't always visible at first glance. Some 1965 pennies were struck with small die variations or errors that make them highly sought after. For instance, A slightly double date or an unusual strike can elevate a coin from ordinary to collectible. Even minor scratches or planchet flaws, which are tiny imperfections in the metal blank, are studied carefully by collectors. SOY is the 1965 no-mint mark penny special. Unlike rare coins that come from low mintages, this penny's allure lies in its subtle variations and the fact that it represents a moment in U.S. minting history when the country was adjusting to metal shortages and economic changes. While millions of these pennies were produced, coins in exceptionally good condition, uncirculated or with minimal wear, are much harder to find. These pristine examples are often the ones that sell for high prices among collectors, especially when paired with rare die errors or unusual features. For example, in recent years, high-grade 1965 no-mint mark pennies have appeared in auctions and online collector markets with surprisingly strong results. A coin graded MS-65, meaning it's in mint state with almost no imperfections, could fetch hundreds of dollars, far above its face value. Even coins with unique die scratches or slight doubling can attract bids in the thousands. It's fascinating to see how a coin that most people consider ordinary can command such attention and value when collectors recognize its rarity and quality. Identifying a genuine 1965 no-mint mark penny is crucial. First, examine the date carefully. Look for sharpness in the numbers and the absence of a mint mark under the date. Many fakes or altered coins try to imitate rare features, so a magnifying glass can help spot inconsistencies in the engraving. Check the weight and metal composition as well. Authentic 1965 pennies should weigh about 3.11 grams and be made of a copper alloy. The edges should be smooth but with clear lettering and design details. If a coin feels too light, too thick, or the design looks off, it could be a counterfeit or an altered piece. When in doubt, professional grading services can authenticate and grade coins to confirm their legitimacy. There are also some fun and surprising details about the 1965 penny that collectors love. For instance, this was the first Lincoln penny series after a brief period in 1964, when the U.S. Mint experimented with low copper coins to save metal. Many collectors enjoy hunting for pennies with minor errors, like double dies, off-center strikes, or tiny planchet cracks. These imperfections tell a story about the production process at the Philadelphia Mint during that era. Another intriguing fact is that 1965 marked the first full year after President Kennedy's assassination, and the country was still deeply influenced by the social and economic changes of the 1960s. A simple coin like this carries a connection to that moment in American history, making it more than just money. It's a tiny historical artifact. Collectors are drawn to the 1965 no-mint mark penny today for several reasons. First, it's part of the beloved Lincoln Cent series, which has been minted for over a century. Second, it offers a tangible connection to a pivotal decade in American history. Third, it presents opportunities to find rare errors or pristine specimens that can be worth far more than their face value. Many collectors enjoy the thrill of examining coin after coin, searching for that one perfect piece that might elevate their collection or provide a future investment. Even casual collectors find satisfaction in holding a piece of history that has survived decades of circulation. The 1965 no-mint mark Lincoln penny reminds us that even everyday objects can hide incredible stories. It shows how history, economics, and artistry come together in a single small object. Whether you find one in a jar of pennies, a drawer, or a coin collection, taking a closer look can reveal details that most people overlook. From subtle die variations to the smooth copper surface, every feature tells a story about the time, place, and process of its creation. Next time you handle a penny, ask yourself, could this ordinary coin be hiding extraordinary value? Could it be a 1965 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, quietly waiting to surprise someone who knows how to look? Even decades after it was first struck at the Philadelphia Mint, this coin continues to captivate collectors and history enthusiasts alike. One small coin, a big story, and the possibility that the change in your pocket could be more than just spare money. It could be a hidden piece of history waiting for discovery. The 1965 no-mint mark Lincoln penny may seem simple, but its story is anything but ordinary. From its historical context to its subtle variations, from collector fascination to real-world value, this coin represents a bridge between the past and the present. As you think about the coins around you, remember that some of the most remarkable stories are hidden in plain sight. The next time you stumble upon a penny from the 1960s, take a closer look. You never know what history might be resting in your hand. Even a coin as small as this one can ignite curiosity, spark a sense of discovery, and connect you to a time long gone. Could the penny you find today be the next collector's treasure? Only careful eyes, a bit of knowledge, and a touch of luck will tell. The story of the 1965 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is a reminder that sometimes the greatest treasures are hiding where we least expect them. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that was minted over half a century ago. A small piece of history that slipped quietly through the pockets of Americans, yet today could be worth far more than its face value. Picture a simple penny, one that most people would overlook, yet for collectors, it's a treasure with a story few ever notice. Today, we're diving into the world of the 1964 D-Mint Mark Lincoln penny, a coin that seems ordinary at first glance, but hides secrets and value that make it fascinating for anyone interested in coins, history, or a glimpse into American life over 60 years ago. The 1964 D Lincoln penny is exactly what it sounds like, a 1-cent coin featuring the familiar profile of President Abraham Lincoln, minted in Denver, as indicated by the small d under the date. On one side, you'll see Lincoln's dignified profile, staring into the distance, a design that has become an enduring symbol of American coinage. On the reverse, you'll find the Lincoln Memorial, a design that replaced the earlier wheat ears in 1959, marking Lincoln's 150th birthday. While millions of pennies were minted in 1964, this coin has caught the attention of collectors not just because of its age, but because of its story, its composition, and the subtleties that can make one penny worth hundreds, sometimes even thousands. To the right collector. To understand why the 1964 D penny is so interesting, we need to look back at its year of origin. 1964 was a year of transition in the United States. The country was in the middle of a cultural shift, civil rights movements were gaining momentum, and the economy was strong, fueled by post-war prosperity. For coin collectors, 1964 marked the last year that the Lincoln penny was made almost entirely from copper before rising copper prices started influencing the minting process in later years. The Denver Mint produced millions of these coins, but each one carries a piece of history, stamped in a simple, familiar form that has survived decades of circulation. The 1964 D Lincoln penny may look like any other penny at first glance, but it has several unique features that make it special. Made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, it has a warmth and weight that gives it a tangible presence in your hand. The obverse features Lincoln's portrait, sculpted by Victor David Brenner, a design in circulation since 1909, yet it still manages to capture attention with its fine details, from the strands of Lincoln's hair to the determined set of his jaw. The reverse, the Lincoln Memorial, replaced the wheat ears that adorned earlier pennies, offering a miniature architectural marvel in every coin. Some coins from 1964 also show minor variations or minting errors, from double dies where the design appears slightly doubled, to tiny imperfections caused by the striking process. These errors, though rare, can significantly increase the coin's value to collectors who are always searching for these anomalies. So what makes the 1964 D penny rare or valuable? On the surface, this may seem like just another penny from the 1960s, and indeed, millions exist in circulation. However, rarity doesn't always mean scarcity in total numbers. For this coin, rarity often comes from condition, errors, and uncirculated examples. Coins that were never spent, preserving their mint luster, are highly sought after. Similarly, coins that escaped the wear of pocket circulation, showing sharp details with no scratches or dents, are far rarer than the billions that were tossed into coin jars and registers across the country. Collectors also pay attention to small anomalies like double-die obverse or variations in the mint mark. These subtle differences can turn a coin that might otherwise be worth a few cents into one valued at hundreds or even thousands of dollars in the right market. For example, auction records show that a pristine, uncirculated 1964 D penny in perfect condition can sell for several $100s. A coin with a rare double die or a significant minting error can fetch even higher prices, sometimes approaching or exceeding $1,000, depending on its condition and the level of collector interest at the time. These examples highlight how even a coin that once cost only a penny can become a significant investment, not just because of intrinsic value, but because of history, rarity, and the story it tells. But how do you know if a 1964 D Lincoln penny is genuine and not a clever counterfeit? The first step is to examine the coin's details carefully. The Denver Mint mark, the small d under the date, should be sharply defined. Any unusual spacing, smudging, or size differences can be a warning sign. The color and weight of the coin are also important. Genuine 1964 pennies are made primarily of copper, giving them a distinct reddish-brown color. They should weigh approximately 3.11 grams. If the coin feels unusually light or the color seems off, it could be plated or altered. Finally, looking at the finer details, such as Lincoln's facial features and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, can reveal whether the coin is authentic. Subtle inconsistencies in the design often indicate a reproduction, while the right combination of weight, color, and detail points to a genuine 1964 D penny. There are also fun and surprising facts about the 1964 D Lincoln penny that make it more than just a collectible. For instance, the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse is so detailed that under magnification, you can actually see the tiny statue of Lincoln inside the memorial. It's a miniature work of art that most people overlook when they handle the coin. Another interesting fact is that 1964 was the first year that the U.S. penny began to feel the influence of modern coin production techniques, transitioning toward more mechanized processes that improved consistency but also occasionally produced fascinating errors that collectors now prize. In addition, many 1964 D pennies survived in circulation for decades, passing from pocket to pocket, yet the ones that remained untouched in coin rolls or collections are now rare glimpses of history, preserved almost perfectly. Collectors love the 1964 D Lincoln penny today for a variety of reasons. Beyond the potential financial value, it offers a tangible connection to the past. Owning a coin minted the same year the Beatles appeared on The Ed Sullivan Show, the Civil Rights Act was signed into law, and the world seemed to be changing almost overnight, gives collectors a sense of holding history in their hands. The coin's design, with Lincoln's enduring image and the architectural beauty of the memorial, is aesthetically pleasing and instantly recognizable, making it a joy to study and admire. Finally, the hunt for rare or uncirculated examples adds an element of excitement. Every coin has a story, and for those who love history, the 1964 D Lincoln penny is a small but powerful chapter in the story of American coinage. So, next time you come across a seemingly ordinary penny, take a moment to examine it. Look for that small D under the date. Notice the warm copper tone, and consider its journey through time. Could this coin be hiding a rare error, a flawless condition, or a story that connects you directly to 1964? Even in the simplest objects, history waits quietly, ready to surprise those who take a closer look. The 1964 D Lincoln penny reminds us that value isn't always obvious at first glance, and sometimes, a tiny coin can hold the key to a much bigger story, one that's just waiting for a curious eye to uncover. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone curious about the hidden treasures in your change, the 1964 D Lincoln penny offers a perfect blend of history, artistry, and the thrill of discovery. Each coin is a time capsule, a piece of America that slipped through pockets and purses, surviving decades of daily life to tell its story today. And who knows, the next penny you pick up from the floor or find in a forgotten drawer might just be hiding a secret worth far more than its simple 1-cent face value. Keep looking closely, and history will always have a way of revealing itself in the smallest of places. Imagine holding a small piece of history in the palm of your hand, a coin so ordinary that most people pass it by, yet so extraordinary that it has captured the attention of collectors around the world. The 1942 Lincoln penny without a mint mark is one of those hidden treasures. At first glance, it looks like any other penny you might find in a jar or under the couch cushions, but its story, its composition, and its rarity make it far more fascinating than its copper color might suggest. Today, we're going to explore the journey of this remarkable coin, uncovering the history, the hidden value, and the reasons collectors still search for it decades later. The 1942 Lincoln penny is part of a series of coins that have been circulating in the United States since 1909. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln cent was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, honoring President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. For decades, these coins were made primarily of copper, But the 1942 penny tells a story that goes beyond just the image of Lincoln. When you see a 1942 penny with no mint mark, it means it was minted in Philadelphia, the oldest U.S. mint and the one responsible for producing the vast majority of coins at that time. The year 1942 was a turning point, both for the United States and for the Lincoln penny itself. The country was fully engaged in World War II, and the war effort required significant amounts of metals like copper, which was essential for ammunition, electrical wiring, and other military materials. As a result, the U.S. Mint made an unusual decision that year. For the first time in the history of the Lincoln cent, they reduced the copper content and began experimenting with alternative metals. This brings us to the unique features of the 1942 Lincoln penny. Most 1942 pennies were made from a composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc, continuing the standard set in earlier decades. However, some 1942 pennies were made from what collectors call steel cents, composed primarily of steel coated with zinc. These steel pennies were actually minted in 1943, but the experiments with alternative metals in 1942 set the stage for that famous shift. The regular 1942 no-mint mark penny, though seemingly ordinary, sometimes displays subtle variations in strike quality, color, and surface texture, which can be fascinating to collectors who look for differences caused by wartime metal shortages and minting pressures. Errors and variations also make the 1942 Lincoln penny interesting. Some pennies may have double die errors, where parts of the design appear slightly doubled. Others may show weak strikes or unusual coloration due to differences in the metal alloy. While these errors are not common, they do exist and can add extra value to a coin. Even small differences can make a huge difference for a collector, and that is why every 1942 penny deserves a closer look. So why is this coin rare or valuable? The truth is that most 1942 pennies are not incredibly rare in terms of numbers. Millions were minted. However, their value comes from condition, historical significance, and specific variations. A 1942 penny in circulated condition might be worth only a few cents or a couple of dollars, but an uncirculated, pristine example can fetch much more. Coins that show minimal wear, strong detail, and vibrant luster can appeal to serious collectors and investors who understand the importance of preservation. To give you a sense of real-world value. Auction records show that high-grade 1942 pennies without a mint mark can sell for hundreds of dollars. For instance, an uncirculated 1942 Philadelphia penny graded MS-65 by professional grading services has been known to fetch prices in the range of $300 to $500, and coins graded even higher can reach over $1,000. Variations with notable errors, such as double dies or unusual striking anomalies, can command significantly more, sometimes reaching into the thousands. These sales highlight how a coin that once passed from pocket to pocket during wartime can transform into a collectible of historical and financial interest decades later. Identifying a real 1942 penny is usually straightforward, but caution is always advised. Authentic coins will have the proper diameter, weight, and design details consistent with the Lincoln cent. The coin should measure 19.05 millimeters in diameter and weigh about 3.11 grams. For higher-grade coins, careful inspection under magnification can reveal the sharpness of the design and surface texture. Counterfeit or altered coins do exist, especially among rare error varieties, so using professional grading services or consulting experienced collectors can be crucial if you think you've found a valuable piece. Learning to spot subtle differences in color, strike quality, and minting details is part of the thrill of collecting and preserving these coins. There are also some fun and surprising details about the 1942 penny that most people don't know. For one, even during wartime, the mint maintained remarkably high production standards, producing millions of coins with consistent quality despite shortages and pressure to conserve metals. The design of Lincoln's portrait itself has subtle variations over the years, and 1942 coins still reflect Brenner's original attention to detail. In addition, the coin serves as a tangible link to history. When you hold a 1942 penny, you are touching a piece of the same America that faced global conflict, rationing, and profound social change. That connection to the past is part of the coin's enduring charm. Collectors love the 1942 Lincoln penny not just for its potential monetary value but also for its historical significance. It represents a snapshot of American life during World War II, a moment when even the simplest objects, like a 1-cent coin, were tied to larger economic and social realities. Collectors are drawn to the challenge of finding well-preserved examples, discovering rare variations, and building a collection that tells a story of the nation. The coin is small, but its appeal is enormous because it combines history, artistry, and the excitement of discovery. As we reflect on the 1942 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, it becomes clear that this unassuming coin is more than just spare change. It's a piece of history, a collectible with hidden potential, and a reminder of the resilience and resourcefulness of a nation during trying times. Next time you come across a penny from the early 1940s, take a closer look. You might be holding a small treasure that carries decades of stories, from the hands of everyday Americans to the eyes of dedicated collectors who value history in their palm. Whether it's the thrill of spotting a subtle error, the satisfaction of a perfectly preserved example, or the connection to a pivotal year in American history, the 1942 Lincoln penny offers a journey worth exploring. Every coin has a story, and this penny story continues to unfold in the collections, auctions, and curiosity-driven searches of collectors today. So, as you examine your old coins or wander through a coin shop, remember that even the smallest piece of metal can hold extraordinary value, waiting to be discovered by someone with the eye to see it. The 1942 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is proof that history can fit in the palm of your hand, and that the next time you find a seemingly ordinary coin, it might just be your turn to uncover a hidden treasure.